Hello, welcome to This Week in Japan. I'm the Gaijin John.
I'm the Geek Tom.
And together we make up Geeks and Gaijins, and we bring you all the local news from around the land of the rising sun. Like, just in case you wanted to know. Like, it's nice. I live here. Thomas doesn't.
Nope, not a chance at the moment, even if I wanted to. They would not let me in, because I would bring deadly disease. Which I definitely have.
He lied. More on that later.
Still not vaccinated, though, so I do not have the disease at the same time.
Well, before we get to how dangerous foreigners can be, we have a cute corner happy ending. Yay! The world's fastest poop break. Apparently eating with me is unadvisable. And then also some sad manga noises. Macron is coming to town. And I, as a reporter, was following a hot Olympic lead. I saw the Olympic flame. That's why it's hot. I saw the torch relay.
I see. It is a wordplay, in fact, because the fire is hot, and a hot lead is... Yes, very well done. Good job. Golf claps all around.
I'm so happy with myself. Regardless of that, I think it's time we get started anyway with Cute Corner.
Aww.
Just something to get us, nicely warmed up and started off with. And this is an update to a Crime Corner story, but a happy ending.
You don't see that very often, do you, John?
No, it does not. This is relevant to the story we've been covering for a couple of weeks about a giant reticulated python that escaped someone's apartment in Yokohama.
Fun times.
Okay, to recap you on what was going on, Thomas, a reticulated python, which is about 3.5 meters long, had disappeared from an apartment in Yokohama.
Oh dear.
And man went out to work, he came back, python wasn't there.
Never a good sign.
And he thought that it might have left through the open window. And the police were on the case, patrolling the area in a car for some reason.
I'm still curious what they were going to do when they found the snake. Were they going to put the sirens on, ask them to pull over?
Well, the thing is, Thomas, we will never know, because shocking plot twist, the python never left the apartment.
The python's coming from inside the building. What?
Yeah, so this 3.5 meter long python, I will reiterate, that weighs 10 kilos. After more than 2 weeks since the python ran away, and they hadn't found any clues. And upon talking to what this article just calls experts, yes, those python escape experts, they thought that the snake might have actually stayed in the apartment. So on the 22nd of May, they searched the attic with a caretaker, and they discovered the python wrapped around a pillar in the attic. And it was subsequently captured. So this is 17 days after the python had been on the run. And during this time, this article also states that during this time there were no injuries or damages. Yeah, because the python just had a nap in the attic. It took a mental health fortnight.
Good for them. Do we know how they managed to get up there, or why they decided to leave the apartment? Or have the experts not weighed in on that particular aspect?
No, they did say they had to go up there with a caretaker, like the caretaker of the building. So it's likely that it's not somewhere that people would usually go.
Mm.
It's
Explains how no one found it for so long.
Some comments from local residents.
Nice.
When they found the python, came to take pictures of it. One male office worker said, "I have an elementary school student and a 4-year-old child, so I refrained from letting them play nearby until I found a snake. I was relieved they found it." And a female junior high school student said, "I tried to keep away from snake-like places." I'm sorry, I'm reading a direct translation from Japanese, so just some stuff is great. But it's like, such as riversides as much as possible. I'm really glad it was caught. No, why are second-year junior high school students hanging out at riversides?
It's the hot place to be, John.
Oh, God, I'm so out of touch. I need to find an anime that explains that hot riverside goss.
Jujutsu Kaisen?
Basically, everyone is happy. The snake didn't do anything to harm people. Snake wasn't bad at all. They said it was a little dehydrated.
Aw, baby.
Though apparently the man will not keep the python though. So he will go to a better python place. According to the owner, the captured snake will be managed by the city of Yokohama and transferred to a third party.
You've lost your snake owning privileges, son. You lost the snake, therefore it has to go somewhere else. The snake clearly likes the pillar more than it likes your apartment. You're doing something wrong.
Finally, the expert, who is apparently the director of the zoo in Shizuoka Prefecture.
Makes sense.
Who was the actual one who captured the python. Makes sense. Basically saying no one saw it, so it might be somewhere where no one sees things.
Isn't that like a direct quote from BBC Sherlock or something? Like, well done, detective. Hell.
You saw the things that were not to be seen. That is the happy ending of the reticulated python.
Well, good for them.
Yay!
I hope it finds a happy new forever home.
Yes,
hopefully
exactly.
with a large enough pillar.
And be kept away from riversides.
And other people in general, apparently. No one wants to hang out with the snake. It must be very lonely.
Or maybe that's just how the snake wants to be, Thomas.
Fair enough. Maybe it's an introverted snake.
Maybe the snake didn't want to be invited to that party anyway. Well, despite what the snake wants, it is time to move on to Crime Corner. Okay, so our main story for this week is not so much a crime, though someone has definitely got into trouble. And once again, I'm reading a Japanese article with the help of Google Translate here. The link will be in the description. But Google Translate makes this title wonderful.
Oh,
which
good.
is... I'm not sure whether the pun is in the original Japanese, but if it is, I love it. Shinkansen driver for the JR Tokai considers disposal to the toilet away from the driver's cab while driving.
I don't think any of that sounds even remotely like English, John.
The driver of a Japanese bullet train went to the loo.
Hey, there we are. I mean, fair.
And he now might be fired for doing so.
I'm assuming the train was moving whilst he did it.
Yes, so let's get more into this. So there is a rule that the Japanese bullet trains, they go exceedingly fast.
By law, obviously.
Yes. Well, this one at the time was going about 150 kilometers per hour,
Oof.
which is about 90 miles to the Brexit.
Yeah.
and during that time, he felt unwell. Poor man.
It's going 150 kilometers an hour. I'll be surprised.
He felt a stomach pain, and so he called the conductor to the driver's cab and asked him to confirm the safety ahead, and left for about 3 minutes to go to the toilet in the cabin. However, the conductor who he called in there did not have a license to drive the train.
Cool.
At that time, there are about 160 passengers on board. Thomas, what do you think he should have done? No, one, I am legitimately shocked. Apparently on these trains, it's not required for there to be 2 people on the train who can drive the train.
Yeah, what happens if that guy has like a heart attack or something whilst he's driving?
According to the internal regulations this company has, if a Shinkansen driver feels sick whilst driving, they should contact the transportation commander, and if their conductor has a driver's license, they will change driving. Or stop at once and then leave the driver's cab. So basically, he should have stopped the train.
Right. But this is Japan. The train being late is a war crime in itself. So he'd be in trouble regardless. It
would have been... Yes, but maybe not...
As bad.
Maybe not being fired. Though the company does like to state that there is a security device on it called automatic train control that will automatically brake when approaching a station. So... it's not going to go, like, straight through Kyoto Central Station and go, oh, that's my train! Ah!
Oh, is that? So it's just in case there's, like, a car on the tracks that they really need to watch out for, that it's probably best to have a human in there. And if you've got 160 passengers going 150 kilometers an hour, it's probably best that someone who could drive the train is in there.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want to say, well, you should have been in there and you should have pooped your pants. I'm like, yeah, maybe. It's like,
if you're responsible for the safety of that many passengers, or pretty much any number of passengers, and there's no other alternative other than stopping the train to make sure that you don't crash and hurt someone, probably should stop the train.
Like, also, I work at a school. Like, if me and my fellow teacher, like, just left the classroom for half an hour with the kids unsupervised, well, maybe not 3 minutes, but we'd get in trouble. And we're not going 150 kilometers an hour.
That would be a very strange school.
The Keanu Reeves school of speed reading.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a new policy for Japanese schools is you are not allowed to slow down once you start reading. You have to keep going at the same speed or faster until you finish the book.
And for some reason, the sequel's on a boat. Yeah. But no, I really hope the sequel to this one is not on a boat. Though it does look like this poor man is going to lose his job. Oh dear. Oh well.
Sorry, bud. It's a rough situation.
It is indeed. What is a more rough situation? This is not so much, once again, a crime for crime corner, more just being angry at the Japanese government. But this is some absurdly horrible stuff. Coming from Japanese lawmakers, no less.
Imagine my shock.
So this is about, so there is currently a bipartisan committee in the Japanese House that is working on making a bill promoting understanding of LGBT issues. This is not a law. This will not, like, legalize gay marriage or whatever, though Japan should do that. Like, this will not do, like, anything, like, active. The main thing that some of these politicians are disagreeing with is the text of the bill. The opposition party forced the adding of a passage which stated in the objectives and basic principles of the bill that discrimination must not be tolerated.
Sounds good to me. What's the issue?
Well, no, this is the specific thing that these politicians have an issue with. So, some lawmakers have stated that LGBT people are morally unacceptable.
What the f***?
I will note also, so I will state a trigger warning section here if you don't like people saying horrible stuff about LGBT people.
Homophobia, transphobia, etc. What the
these radical ideas that discrimination must not be tolerated.
LGBT people are morally unacceptable, and from a biological perspective, human beings must preserve the species. LGBT people go against this.
So I'm guessing all single people go yourselves.
I mean, I don't think they understand just how many people don't breed that aren't just LGBT. That, I mean, Japan has a massive aging population. Do all those old people and churning out babies? I don't think they are. Do asexual people have to have a moral problem? Do people who just want to live on their own and not have children? Do couples who don't want to have children have a moral issue here? Like that. Some idiot has got into their brain that because gay couples don't technically make children on their own, that they're an issue. But like, it's not like gay couples can't be parents. It's not like they can't adopt children. It's not like there's children who don't need adopting at any given point in time. And it's insulting to straight people as well, because it reduces them down to just their capacity to procreate. I don't think there's a single person who can't be insulted by that statement. In fact, congratulations, you're a fucking moron.
So I will note that not everyone in the party is opposed to this. So there was one member of the ruling party who said the discussion was full of extremely emotional opposing views, which was unbearable to listen to.
This sounds pretty fucking unbearable to me, yeah. If this is the level of discourse.
There are lots of people being extremely annoyed at this. There is now a petition that has over 10,000 signatories. Notably, also, I can't state. So this was in a meeting of 20 people, and so I'm not sure whether it's either the articles that I'm reading or whether it's not specifically clear which individual politicians made the remarks. I think there are, but I can't remember the names of 20 Japanese politicians. Though, Thomas, are you ready for just all the transphobia in one statement?
Well, I would like to imagine that living in the UK has slowly inoculated me to just how fucking transphobic some people can be. But I don't think it's going to hurt any less, so go on.
After the meeting, Eriko Yamatani, who opposes the bill, which will become obvious after this next statement. Notably, this is simply just against the idea that discrimination must not be tolerated. This is not a law doing anything other. We encourage that you not discriminate against people.
When they say not be tolerated, I want to establish this isn't like a material punishment. It's just making it clear that as a social value, you should call people out if they are homophobic, transphobic, or anything like that.
So, Eriko Yamatani afterwards said,
in the United States, school bathroom use issues have been brought up at various parent-teachers associations. And there are also issues of individuals with male bodies participating in female competitions because they say they identify mentally as women and ending up getting lots of medals. Given these absurdities, we should be a bit more careful. Were it to grow into a social or political movement, wouldn't there be various side effects?
She added,
I'd like to make a bill to promote understanding that can serve as a model to the world based on Japan's national character.
She also said that discussion is necessary.
Okay, so literally everything she said was bullshit, because the stuff she said about stuff happening in America is literally just right-wing propaganda that has no basis in reality, and the rest is empty waffling. Like, none of that meant anything to anyone, right?
But medals. But my medals,
if you can show me literally any example of trans people dominating sports, then congratulations. But I think anyone who's actually looked into this claim can realize just that it's a complete fabrication. Trans people are not dominating the sport. They're hardly allowed to participate as it is.
Well, the thing is, she just wants this to somehow be part of Japan's national character. So apparently Japan's national character includes the toleration of discrimination. Sounds about right.
That does sound like Japan, in fact. She's got that right on the money.
Yeah, well, I will say that lots of Japanese people are very angry at this people, and well-deservedly angry. And so am I.
Oh, dear.
This is the night. I do keep on saying that, like, I work with kids. I work with high school students who are all very pro-LGBT, and it makes my little heart, like, go boom boom. But the government. Oh dear. Oh dear. It's just such an own goal. Oh dear. Anyway, all this rubbish has made me, like, wanting to eat my pain away.
Mood.
And so this week, Thomas, it's time for my snack break. I've got something that we do have in the UK, though this is slightly different. I think we have in the US as well. This is, I think you know, cheese string.
Oh, I remember cheese string from my childhood. They were constantly advertised on TV, and they looked absolutely delicious. I think I tried them once, and they tasted like plastic. So,
yeah, so this is called sakeru cheese in Japanese. So sakeru can mean, like, to tear or to split. Or also it can mean to avoid physical contact with. So I don't know whether it's actually just a brand name or not. But this is sakeru cheese. You can buy them in little packs of 2, but this specifically, there were 3 flavours I could buy when I saw this for my snack break, because I was like, yeah, I miss cheese so much. And I know, like, string cheese is not great. It does taste of plastic in the UK. Though I have had, like, my students recommend us, like, I miss cheese, and they're like, have string cheese. I'm like, poor sods.
Yeah, I'm sorry for you're Japanese and don't know what cheese tastes like.
Yeah, so there was the regular cheese. There was the smoked cheese, which did sound very sad. Japanese does good smoked cheese. However, for this one, I thought I would go with bacon taste cheese.
Oh my god! Look at that.
By the way, it is not bacon flavour, it is bacon taste.
Bacon
ladies and
taste.
gentlemen. It says on the label.
Oh yeah. Bacon and cheese, fantastic.
I'm pretty sure that Japan, like, I need to look this up, but I'm pretty sure the verb to taste is the same for, like, the meaning for, like, the flavour of something. Because so many Japanese people I meet get the word flavour wrong. So what taste do you like? It's like, not particularly. So this is 100% Hokkaido milk. So basically it's where an awful lot of milk and cheese and butter products come from. They're all from Hokkaido, because it's cold up there. Ooh, you can find pictures of this at the Gaijin John on Instagram. That smells unfortunate. Okay, it feels like a string cheese. It's like a little sausage made of cheese. It smells of plastic, because it's been in plastic. That's good.
It does, in fact, tear away just like a stringed cheese would, in fact.
It does indeed avoid cheese.
It does indeed avoid contact with the cheese, apart from the fact that John is physically touching the cheese right now, so he's not avoiding contact with it at all. In fact, he's doing the opposite. So I don't think that's how this works.
But it is avoiding the rest of the cheese. Okay, so there we go.
He's done the thing.
I've done the thing you do with cheese string.
For what benefit? I'm not even sure, really. Why is this a selling point? Why do we want to pull the cheese apart, John? I don't understand. Anyway,
I'm going to be controversial here. It's the same thing with Kit Kats. Why do you want to, like, eat it brick by brick when you can just, like, go nom?
The people hated Jesus because he spoke the truth. I'm just saying.
Send all complaints and blasphemy quotes to geeksandgaijins@gmail.com. Here we go. Itadakimasu. It does just taste of string cheese, but that was quite a small part, so there was like, oh, this doesn't taste of any, like, there's no bacon flavour here, but I was getting something towards the end. It was maybe just a small piece. Let's try a bigger bit. Okay. That is not... So this might be different to the ones in the UK, but these are not as bad as I remember. So that might be the UK ones are bad. Like, and the actual bacon flavour is not bad, it's just like an underlying meatiness. Like, so... I'd almost compare it, like, if there wasn't a smoked version, I would say this is probably what the smoked version would taste like. Because it's just kind of like, it's cheesy and meaty. And that flavour goes well. So no, once again, I don't see, like, it's fun, it's weird, it's a string cheese. But no, it is the texture of rubber, and it is bacon taste string cheese. But I will give that, Japan is really bad at bacon out of 10.
I don't know why we thought combining Japanese cheese and Japanese bacon was going to make anything better, but I mean, they gave it a try.
To be honest, it is probably better than Japanese cheese and Japanese bacon. Like, they've put the two really bad things together and made something mediocre.
Congratulations, Japan. In future, maybe stay in your lane. You do other food so very well.
They're so bad at bacon, guys. So bad at bacon and cheese. It makes me so sad.
You can't be good at everything.
Speaking of cheese, the French president is visiting Japan.
But why, though?
Because the French president... this is because the Olympics. Yay! Oh, no, sorry. Thomas, I forgot to tell you something.
That doesn't sound like you, John. You never forget anything.
Thomas, I'm sorry, but it's dangerous to eat with me.
Yes, I just saw you eat a whole cheese string. Clearly,
well,
you're a danger to yourself and others.
Well, an Ibaraki prefectural health centre has just made a call out to local people saying to not eat with foreigners to prevent infection with the new coronavirus.
I mean, you really shouldn't be eating with anyone that isn't inside your household, if I remember correctly. So
this apparently this was specifically focused at farm workers in Ibaraki Prefecture, but this headline has gone stupid viral because of course it has, because someone in a health centre thought it'd be good to write down an official piece of health advice from a doctor's office saying there are many new coronavirus patients who are suspected of being infected by foreigners. I was like, there are so many reasons why that's just so wrong.
Japan's new cure for coronavirus, xenophobia. They've tried it before and it didn't work, but they're gonna keep trying because they have no other solutions.
This country is hosting the Olympics in 2 months. On top of that, it's like the article notes there, it was written that be sure to wear a mask when talking to foreigners.
Just the foreigners have little to do with it. It's a fucking virus. It doesn't give a shit where you come from. Just wear a mask.
Well, didn't you know that's what the India variant means, Thomas? It only affects Indian people. Why can't I breathe? Oh, dear. So, after it was issued, they released a statement saying the content of the document was inappropriate, and it was withdrawn. The health centre said it had no intention of discriminating against foreigners.
Lies!
I'm sorry if there was any misleading expression.
Lies! Lies! You utter clown.
No, there was a lawyer once again, I'm reading an article translated by Google Translate from Japanese, just saying, regarding the document, a lawyer who supports foreigners.
That's nice of him.
It's like, he's just generally, he supports them. He gives them hugs. Said a lawyer who is supporting the foreigner, who is supportive of foreigners, in a legal sense.
Not an emotional sense. He's not.
No,
he's not an emotional support lawyer.
Basically stated that it's part of the Japanese constitution that you can't do this.
Goodness.
And he said it was very disappointing. Yeah.
I can't imagine how that became part of the Japanese.
Because he said it's very disappointing because it may give the impression that the affection is spreading only to the foreigners. I'm like, yeah. Did you not remember, if people will remember who's listening to the podcast for a long time, there was also the entire setup. Do you know it wasn't just foreigners who were spreading it, it was the English language.
Oh, I completely forgot about that. Oh, yes, because we pronounce our, like, P's and, what was it, K's really hard or something. God damn.
The iconic phrase that was on, like, Japanese breakfast television was comparing "Kore wa pen desu," which means this is a pen.
Oh, the pen thing.
This is a pen! This is a pen!
Damn, these English speakers spitting.
Tonari no kyaku wa yoku kaku ku kyaku da. No, wait, that's not English. By the way, that is a Japanese tongue twister, which means the customer next to me is eating white peaches.
Makes sense. Can see how that comes up a lot. About as much as needing to say that this is a pen, anyway. Most people already know what a pen is.
As well as the Japanese for pen.
Is pen.
Pen.
They're very good at this, aren't they? They really have thought the whole, discriminating against anyone who isn't Japanese thing through.
I will also say that there are some bases of how, like, not to do with spreading coronavirus. There are interesting differences comparing speaking Japanese and English. One of the specific ones is when you speak English, you tend to use your whole face. So even when your mouth is covered by a mask, you can see that someone is speaking. Whereas in Japanese, it's very uncommon for the face around the mouth to move. So sometimes it can be seen as very inexpressive by Westerners when Japanese people speak. It's mostly because it's like just the mouth. Whereas if you say like hello, like my cheeks rise up. That's one of the things I do when I'm teaching school kids English is like, you have to use your entire face to speak.
I know one of you listening just mouthed hello to yourself. By the way.
Hello to you too, listener. Hello. But yeah, it's really it's actually really interesting, but it's just being used as utter pseudoscience to spread misinformation.
Anyway, have you given those pigs back yet, John?
The president of France is going to...
Speaking of foreigners, we have no problem visiting Japan for some reason. Can't imagine why.
It's Macron. Yes, it is French President Emmanuel Macron, who will attend the July 23rd opening ceremony of the Tokyo Olympics, a minister has said on Friday. So this was disclosed by French Sports Minister Roxana Mother. This was disclosed by the French Sport Minister.
Bless him. He's tried so hard with all the Japanese. Don't throw a third language at him.
That does happen when you're like learning a second language. Like whenever I try to remember anything from a third language, like I end up speaking it like Japanese. It's really weird. Oh dear. But yes, so the reason for this, obviously, is that France is set to host the next Olympic Games in 2024. Well, the next Summer Olympic Games. And the sports minister added that she and the national education minister were planning to visit Tokyo separately. This is an interesting response, though. But when the sports minister was asked on whether the Olympics would still be held, despite the strong concerns for the Japanese people and the coronavirus pandemic, she responded, "No one knows what will happen tomorrow."
That's ominous. What the fuck do you mean by that?
Sorry, that's the first part of the sentence.
Oh my god.
But the inoculation of participating athletes is progressing. I think we are moving in the right direction.
Fucking hell, John. That's the... What a hell of a dramatic pause.
There was a comma there.
Fucking hell. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, they also said that governments have to work together, blah-de-blah-de-blah. But yeah, so, yay, French president has come to town. Let's get him some cheese strings to celebrate.
I'm sure he'll fucking love them, because we know how much the French love their cheese, even more than we do, because they have more types. We keep stealing them.
But there we are. I just thought I'd bring that up, because the joy of the Olympic... It's just an Olympic update. Because actual Olympic update, I actually did something. Because you know that Olympic flame that is travelling around the country and giving all the good boys and girls COVID? Yeah, the Olympic flame came to my prefecture. And it arrived on a Friday. And I only have a morning lesson on a Friday. So I thought I took the rest of the day off to go and be the one foreigner to go see the Olympic flame at bits. And I thought I'd just give you a rundown of how that's going in our COVID times.
I'm happy to hear about this, John. Let's go. Story time with John.
Notably, a couple of weeks ago, my friends who live in the neighbouring prefecture, they had the flame come there. And it was a little different because they were in the centre of a big city when they saw it. And it was quite late at night. So they were generally there were less people around. People were generally on the streets and it was fine. Whereas where I went to do it, because of the way it's set out, basically the torch itself does about 10 little sections of track, which are spread all over the local area. So at one part of the track, it will start at this time, finish at another time, and then everyone hops in a bus and drives to the next portion of the track that's all been laid out. So because it was a Friday, I couldn't actually go to the bit near my apartment because that was all early in the morning. So I drove to a little town called the Nambu Town, which had the flame passing through it at about 1 o'clock. So it was very sunny. So I actually drove there. I straight from school. I popped out. I had my proper camera with me. We'll try and upload some pictures to the Facebook. And so I got out. I thought there's no real parking around, so I parked in the 7-Eleven. I have no idea if that was allowed or not. No one told me off. Or they were too scared to. So it was a lovely sunny day, and I just walked the 10-15 minutes to where the start was going to be. However, when I got there, looking very obviously foreign and getting lots of very odd looks from all the policemen and the traffic wardens.
Because of the coronavirus. Because you're bringing COVID into town.
Maybe. I also note that I work every day maybe 20 minutes away from this town, by car. I am
You're local.
I am extremely local.
But they've never seen you before.
I know, because I haven't been to every single town in my prefecture. Shock and gasp. But this was the closest one to me. So, I went there, and basically next to this main road that they'd all, cordoned off parts of, they'd cordon off, essentially, the length of the pavement or sidewalk going along the road where people would be running. Though to get into this partitioned area, you had to go through like a ticket booth area. And it seemed, looking at the other people and having a short chat to the people on the ticket booth, that obviously a way they'd done stuff to try and prevent COVID is they'd done a little local lottery or something. That basically, local people will have received something in the mail to go, oh, I'd like to come see it, and like just go up and along, so not too many people are there, and so you don't get like big COVID crowds. We will get to why this was a problem in a second. So I could not go up there. The lady was very nice, however, and there was also, because this is random Japanese like townlet, there was a dip behind the normal sidewalk, and then just a second sidewalk, which went almost totally parallel to the other one. So I just walked down that. Within clear view of everything. I just wasn't as close, and sadly wasn't close enough to snag any of the merch. Sad face.
That's what we're here for.
So I walked along. Yeah, no merch for me. No, so I walked along, I set up, I got there about 20 minutes ahead of time, and I saw basically you have loads and loads of trucks coming down. So what you have is, first of all, you had the people actually carrying the torch. There are about 4 or 5 people I saw with the torches getting like photos taken, and I took their photos as well. Notably, I was just in like a white shirt and like black suit trousers, like my work clothes. So I'm pretty sure like the police thought I was some kind of journalist. Like, because I was just there with a semi-nice looking camera. Which I think was why, like, that parallel path I was in, I don't think people were really supposed to be there. But I it's the kind of thing of, does anyone here actually speak English? No. Do you want to talk to the foreigner? God, no. Do you want to talk to the foreigner? Oh, God, no. Yeah. So I think that there might have been a little bit of that.
He might give you coronavirus if he minds his P's and Q's. So you don't want to go near him.
Notably, everyone was wearing a mask, by the way. But so lots of the local Japanese people are all they're all spread out along like the area, but there's still loads of space in this partitioned area. Like, notably, this was at the start of it, so I assumed there was more space. I assumed there was more space, like even further along the track, because like I was at right at the beginning. So people arrived. There were also like the sponsors. There were like almost tiny little dance troupes of like people from Coca-Cola and I think like some broadband companies handing out towels and stuff like that, going yay yay, Olympics, Coca-Cola, woo, and I go okay cool. They were very happy looking people. They were nice. And yeah, and you had lots of people you saw, and I will say I counted there were probably about at least 15 coaches or like small minibuses worth of stuff going on. And because then the guy, after lots of photos, the first person eventually started running with about 6 people doing a slow jog around them, whilst the torchbearer was not masked, but everyone else was, so they could obviously take pictures of the torchbearer, whilst a slow-moving truck immediately in front of them, like with a camera in it, just moved like slightly faster than walking pace, like to just keep the camera on it. And yeah, and so I saw all the beginning of that, I saw all that, I stood to the side, took some pictures and went, that's definitely an Olympic flame.
Nice.
And yeah. The main problem was that this was all happening at 1 PM on a Friday. So, like, I assume lots of people like me came to a time when they weren't busy and just looked for the nearest place at the most convenient time. Therefore, there were actually quite a few other people, Japanese people, who'd come up there and obviously didn't have like their allocated tickety area things. Because notably, looking on the website, there was absolutely no indication that this was a thing. It might have just been a local like prefectural thing. So near the entrance to the partitioned area, you just had, I counted, maybe a small like scrum of about 30 or 40 people who all couldn't get into the partitioned like sidewalk. Because that was the bit they were allowed on. because it was the beginning of the race. Because they partitioned it all along the middle of the race, along the middle of the run, so they could just be there at the beginning. And, like, if they had let the people in, there was maybe 30, 40 people, you could have spread them out easily across this partition. But no. It was just that thing of, they got so close to doing something well. Like, so close. And everyone was very nice. I'm sure the torchbearers were very, very smiling, very happy, and had a wonderful day. And generally, I went there, and everyone was very lovely. The guide in charge of it, but just the general organisation, it just felt very anemic. And I know I'm in the middle of bloody nowhere, but it was just, there was such a vibe of, we are doing this because of the obligation. like the people who were there were, like, happy to see it. They're like, yeah, but people were there to be like, yeah, like, I suppose I should be here. The Olympics are gonna be happening. But as someone who went to the UK, like, the London Olympics, and, like, is one of probably the best experiences of my young life, there was such a great feeling when I was there. But maybe I'm a foreigner, I don't get that feeling, but it did just feel very subdued. Let's just say it felt a very subdued flame procession. But yeah, that's if you wanted to know how the Olympic torch went, that how it goes. It was fiery.
It's doing its job well.
Then I walked back to the car and I bought an ice cream.
Very nice.
Very lastly, very quickly, there's some very sad news this week just to end off with, because we didn't really know where to put it in the show. But one of the most famous mangakas of all time, Kentaro Miura, creator of best-selling manga Beserk, died at the age of 54 earlier this month, and it was only recently just announced. And this has just been put huge shocks into the Japanese entertainment industry. Notably because this series has been ongoing since 1989. The Beserk as a series has been running for 8 years longer than I've been alive.
And it's been a landmark piece of media and an inspiration for so many other artists in the medium. Well, not just in manga, but in anime and in video games, and just pretty much every art form that's come into contact with it.
Like, main ones that people specifically are stating at the moment, ones like Dynasty Warriors, Final Fantasy, and Dark Souls. Specifically, Dark Souls is a huge of dark Western medieval setting depicted by Japanese people. There are big gatherings online, including in the game Final Fantasy 14, doing like virtual memorials for him. But just generally, there is just so much. There's just so much sadness right now, and there's I thought I would see the question raised more, but there's not even an idea of whether the comic will continue or not. And I feel like it's very nice that for a lot of people at this point it's not clear, and that's not the important thing. The important thing is that someone has died, and that's very, very sad. Someone who has made some absolutely wonderful stuff and is absolutely an amazing artist who will be missed.
Yeah, the man was an absolute giant, and it's a shame to see him go so early. Especially to a condition that some people are attributing to stress, which is a common feature in the manga industry at the moment. Many artists are overworked, underpaid, and burning out like crazy, and it's a shame to see this happen to anyone, especially at someone so beloved. He will be missed.
And that is the end of the show, so thank you everyone for listening. But Thomas, where can they listen to more of us, if they do indeed want to listen to more of us? And if you've listened this long, you might as well.
We have our podcast up on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean. I will upload a video of the podcast onto YouTube. And we'll probably be on other places like Amazon Podcasts as well. If we're not on a place you'd like to listen to us on, feel free to let us know either at our email at geeksandgaijins@gmail.com, or you can message us on Facebook, Geeks and Gaijins, or message us on Twitter at Gaijins. And we also have a Twitch channel where we'll occasionally stream video games when we find the time. And the VODs should be up for 2 weeks after the fact. I think we're in the last few days of our last stream where we were playing Danganronpa V3.
If you're listening to this on release, and that is, of course, twitch.tv/geeksandgaijins.
Mm-hmm. And on the YouTube channel, we also have a few video essays up. If you'd like to listen to me talk about some anime. Is there any other social media platforms we're on that I missed, John?
Apart from my Instagram, which is @thegaijinjohn, where you can find pictures of the snack break, and also you can just follow me personally on Twitter, which is @JohnComby, for general shenanigans. Shenanigans, I say!
Shenanigans, he says.
And for more shenanigans, we will see you next week in Japan.